No. She thinks about screwing me over all the time. If Janelle could come after me over alimony and child support or anything, she'd do it. Oh yeah, she's got nothing but how could I him?
The irony is thick with this one. Kody spent all that time talking about how Janelle would screw him over in a heartbeat, especially when it comes to alimony or child support. He was sure that if push came to shove, she'd jump at the chance to take him down. Fast forward to now, and guess who actually files for child support? That's right, Christine. I'd love to see how Kody spins this one. Janelle, who he was so sure would be the one to go after him, has been oddly chill about the whole thing. Looks like he miscalculated that one, huh? And then there's Kody's gem of a statement. Giving the ex-wives what you owe them from the property is not doing them a favor. Ah, yes, because paying what's rightfully theirs is such a burden. Big-time projection there, Kody. Let's not forget the financial gymnastics at play here. Meri footed the bill for Robyn's kids' audits and college expenses. Janelle's $401 covered Robyn's debts, and her home equity helped pay for the McMansion. But somehow, Kody is the one getting screwed over. It's a real head-scratcher, especially when you consider he has more assets than any of the OG3, even though they all drew from the same family pot. And technically, he has more kids than any of them. It's almost like the numbers don't quite add up to the sob story he's trying to sell. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel reality Nexus X. Oh, where to even start with Kody's worst moments on the show? Seriously, there's a long list, but one that really takes the cake for me is when he told his son he wasn't willing to make sacrifices because he wanted to get his pencil wet. I mean, what an absolutely ridiculous, childish comment. Then there's the whole debacle with Isabel's surgery. Kody suggested she should just go through it alone, like that wouldn't scar her for life. And his justification? If she's gonna become a bitter housewife because her daddy didn't go to her operation. Like, thanks for the compassion, Kody. If that wasn't enough, this man had the audacity to tell her she wasn't allowed to have ill feelings about him not showing up when she needed him most. I don't know what's worse, his lack of empathy or the fact that he thinks he has the right to invalidate her feelings. I'd seriously want to high-five him in the face with a brick for that one. Then there's the whole sacred covenant speech with Robyn. He said he'd never stay with her if he didn't truly love her. Fine, but then he goes on to talk about how he'd pretend for Meri if she needed him to. Diabolical, right? He's talking about maintaining a farce for one wife while spewing these romantic ideals with another. But wait, there's more. Kody actually compared Janelle and Christine's desire to marry him to the desperate behavior of a dog begging, pick me, as he panted like an animal to illustrate his point. Classy. And my personal favorite, telling his wife that her life was not one he wanted to insert himself in while she was desperately trying to save their marriage after 10 years. How cold and dismissive can you get? Imagine pouring your heart into something for that long, and the response you get is, yeah, I'm really not interested, thanks for trying though. So yeah, there's a lot to choose from, but honestly, this level of emotional neglect and verbal cruelty, it's like he's in a league of his own. I know, we're all kind of over the wedding content at this point, but here I am, rewatching the coronavirus years, and let me tell you, Christine's strength is actually something to be admired. Like, wow, she's out here being the role model we all need. First off, she was the first one to leave. Her marriage was a dumpster fire, she was stuck in a cult, and she just bailed. How many people can say they walked away from all of that? Exactly. What really hits me watching the coronavirus years is her sheer strength and confidence. This woman knew she deserved better, and she was done settling. She wasn't about to put up with Kody's nonsense any longer. She chose herself, and she owned it. And then there's the whole facing the firing squad moment, right? Someone once pointed out how Christine had to endure it all when she decided to leave. Robyn turned it into her own personal drama, getting snippy and sarcastic, like that was the time to invalidate Christine's feelings. Meri, silent as always, but her icy stare, loud. She wasn't exactly cheering Christine on, but hey, she confirmed that much in her talking head. Janelle? Supportive, but you could see her struggle with what it meant for the family, though, let's be real, she knew it was coming. And then there's Kody, who delivered his signature knife-to-the-back speech, just for good measure. Through it all, Christine just sat there, taking it. Not because she didn't care, but because she knew fighting wasn't going to change anything. She had one goal, getting out. Meanwhile, Meri&Janelle didn't have to face that mess. They didn't have to sit through any of that. Christine had to blaze the trail, and she did it with such grace. Honestly, it's not just about her bravery. It's the fact that she walked out with her head held high, knowing she deserved better than all of them. A true icon. Kody, poor guy had this realtor, right? And he's dragging him all over town, talking about his divorces like he's auditioning for a reality show. It's like being stuck with that one relative at Christmas who won't stop talking about their life story. You just nod and smile, hoping they'll take the hint. I can't even deal. And then there's that moment when you start regretting ever responding to the guy who messaged you about your real estate listing, agreeing to meet in the middle of nowhere. Classic Kody move. He gets all jittery around good-looking men, starts rambling about everything like he's trying to be friends with them in 30 seconds. Trust me, girl, I get it. As I watched this, I couldn't help but think, Kody doesn't know this guy. This isn't a buddy he's known for years. No, he just found him from a listing. So what does he do? Launches into some weirdly personal breakdown about his failed marriages, how he and his kids used to skinny dip in the pond, because that's normal conversation, right? And then casually mentions it like it's some great family bonding memory. The man is a mess. And then there's the best part. Kody can't even list the property without all their signatures, which is hilarious enough. But trying to play middleman in the sale, that's chef's kiss comedy gold. The realtor's just like, yeah, sure, you'll be the first to know. I mean, the guy clearly wants out of there ASAP. This is classic Kody. Whenever he's around other men, it's like he suddenly thinks he has to become besties with them right now. And Janelle's right, he just leaks like a sieve. I can only imagine the realtor's story when he got home. So you won't believe this guy I met today. He literally told me about his fond memories of swimming in a poop pond and still doesn't get that a retention pond isn't exactly a swimming hole. Kody truly never disappoints. Why does Kody always manage to dodge the hard questions without ever giving a real answer? It's honestly impressive. Last night, in his typical Kody fashion, he knew he was in the wrong about the whole one-child, smaller property situation. But instead of owning up to it, he just casually dismisses it with, you know what, that's water under the bridge. Clearly not, since we're still talking about it. And of course, the grand final. I don't even want to discuss it. Classic Kody, right? It's like he's mastered the art of refusing to take accountability, and it all started at the reunion after Christine left. That's when he really began trying to control the narrative, like somehow he was going to rewrite history. It's honestly baffling why the producers don't just say, you want that paycheck. Start talking. It's beyond frustrating that he's so bluntly honest about everything except when it comes to admitting he's got major issues. Honestly, if I were producing the show, I'd be holding his feet to the fire. He needs that TLC money, and he's got this uncanny ability to bluff his way through everything. I mean, are we sure his contract doesn't have some clause that allows him to avoid any serious discussions? TLC clearly loves the drama, especially post-divorce, but this feels like they're just letting him slide for the sake of content. What are your thoughts on this? I bet the producers know it's better to let Kody run his mouth because he usually ends up revealing his own contradictions. Without Robyn there to steer him or deflect with her tears, he just talks in circles. It's like a weird subconscious pattern at this point. He'll never give you a straight answer, but he'll slip up and contradict himself every single time. And then there's the whole rewriting the past thing. Kody admits it himself, he's guilty of it. One minute, he says he loved his wives, and the next, as soon as someone criticizes him, he's all, I never loved them anyway. It's like dealing with a child who doesn't want to take responsibility for his actions. Honestly, the reason they don't have him and Robyn sit together is pretty obvious. She would literally steer the whole conversation. She'd either distract him, cry, or just control the narrative so much that nothing meaningful would come out. And you know it would be amazing if they brought in a male host. I can already picture Kody getting all giddy and switching into his just between you and me bro mode, trying to act like he's the wise patriarch. It'd be pure entertainment. The great Kody Brown transformation, the one where nothing really changed, but apparently everything did. If you ask me, it wasn't Flagstaff or coronavirus that flipped the switch on him. No, the real turning point was when his wives, especially Christine and Robyn, shot down his little fantasy of the one-house dream. The audacity, right? I mean, imagine a beautiful home where everything is supposed to be magical and perfect, except for the wives who weren't exactly on board. That, apparently, broke him. For a split second, I'll admit, I almost felt sorry for him as things went south. But then, boom, enter grumpy Kody, constantly scowling, no longer offering that charming grin we used to see, even in interviews. The vibe just changed completely. And honestly, it wasn't the whole moving to Flagstaff situation. It was him realizing that he wasn't getting the attention he had grown so comfortable with. His wives were busy with their kids, and the growing independence of the children made him feel like his kingdom was crumbling. And Kody, being Kody, had no idea how to deal with that. But here's the kicker. Kody didn't change. He just stopped pretending. The mask slipped, and suddenly, he wasn't the happy family man anymore. Oh no, now he was just a guy bitter about his diminishing status. Now, if you want to talk about classic cult behavior, let's talk about Meri. In fundamentalist Mormon circles, there's actually a term for what Kody did, putting her out to pasture. Basically, it's when you ditch your wife because she's too old to have more kids. You're no longer interested in intimacy, but you won't let her leave because, hey, you still need her for your cash flow and heaven status. Charming, right? Let's not kid ourselves here. The whole family dynamic Kody sold us on was a lie. They were so entrenched in that cult mentality, they could barely tell what was real anymore. Before the show, they were living in poverty. The older kids were practically starving, but somehow they pulled off the big happy family facade. Kody was probably more hands-on when he had a wife who was too young, pretty, and compliant. But the minute the kids grew up and didn't need his control, he had no idea how to maintain a relationship with them. That's when the cracks really started showing, and sadly, the kids were the ones who had to deal with it. And the worst part? They had no idea that Kody's version of love was really just a self-serving illusion. Kody calling Meri's friends betches. Seriously? That got me so mad. My husband may not be a fan of all my friends, but he respects them and puts up with them because he's an alpha male who isn't intimidated by differing opinions. But Kody? Nah, his misogyny is showing loud and clear here. Does he even know what women really think when they hear the phrase alpha male? Spoiler alert, it's not flattering. He's the textbook example of an abusive guy who can't handle the idea of his victim's friends seeing through his act. Honestly, the only two people Meri should have ditched were Kody and Robyn. Talk about toxic inside and out. Someone should make a PSA about avoiding people like this at all costs. Kody's financial logic is really something, isn't it? He talks about Janelle having a business that she walked away from, mentioning that we put money into it, but apparently she just took the profits for herself. So, using that same brilliant reasoning, shouldn't we apply it to Robyn's house, those stunning paintings, the ATVs, and the whole shebang? After all, didn't the Common Pot fund all of those? It's almost like Robyn's marriage license comes with a hidden clause that gives her free rein to swipe from the family's funds. And Kody? Well, he seems to believe he gets to keep everything because, the OG3 left him. But here's the kicker. Do Kody and Robyn honestly think they deserve it all just because they're still hanging in there? Especially the land at Coyote Pass? And let's not forget Robyn's public declaration that her house was a family investment, a rental for the entire family once they all build out on Coyote Pass. Seems like it's a shared property when it suits her, but when it comes to the financial side, suddenly it's all hers. Funny how that works, right? Now, if we take polygamy out of the equation for a second, each of these wives, well, except Robyn, has contributed their paychecks, their house sales. Basically, they've invested in this so-called common pot. That makes them investors, not just passive bystanders. Honestly, I'd think a lawyer would have a field day with this. Maybe an audit of the books wouldn't be the worst idea. Kody's whole "I get everything and you get nothing" attitude. It's beyond frustrating. Meri, it seems like she's no longer Kody's favorite ex, huh? After all these wonderful revelations, Janelle and Meri have finally started seeing things the way Christine did a couple of seasons ago. Surprise, surprise. Kody's not exactly a fan of Janelle these days either, tossing out insults like greedy. Remember when he whined about Christine finding the man who'd steal all his money? Well, enter David, and I can't help but wonder, does David get a piece of the TLC paycheck too? If he does, that means Kody's share is shrinking, and I'm here for it. The irony is just too delicious. And that big, over-the-top wedding. I'm willing to bet TLC didn't just foot the bill for it. They probably tossed Christine and David a paycheck too. Oh, the sweet taste of karma. Janelle's probably about to get a lot more camera time next season, which is a direct hit to Kody's precious screen time. I'm crossing my fingers that this means Robyn's TLC paycheck might shrink a bit as well. Can't say I'm sad about that. Now, the audacity of Kody bitching about Janelle possibly wanting child support. Really, it's a child's right to be supported by both parents. I can already hear Robyn's whiny little voice. If Christine or Janelle sue you for child support, they could take everything, even my figurines. I'm living for it. Honestly, it baffles me how men like Kody get so worked up over child support. Why does he even care about paying for the kids? Oh, right, because he's a giant douche. But wait, there's more. The cherry on top? Him calling Meri's friends betches and salty. Really, Kody? Who's the real betch here? They speak the truth, while he spins lies, rewrites history, and then has the nerve to call them names. So tell me, Kody, who's the betch? Yeah, that's what I thought. For a while, it seemed like he hated Christine and Janelle more than Meri, and Meri's over here acting like it's some sort of compliment. But deep down, we all know he still hates her, and he's probably thrilled that he wasted an extra decade of her life. Now, she gets to be the favorite ex, which is a title she's probably more than happy to own. But Kody? He'll need about another decade of hating on the other two before he feels even remotely as detached as he does with Meri. Oh, what a mess. Would the family have survived in the cul-de-sac? Would the Browns still be 100% intact today if they had never left Vegas? Let the theories begin, folks. Here's my take. The kids were always going to grow up and help their mothers realize that there is, in fact, life beyond Kody's BS. And honestly, that probably would have happened sooner rather than later. They were already witnessing Kody only showing up to sleep at Robyn's house the second they moved to Vegas. Sure, coronavirus still would have happened, but honestly, who knows if Kody would have even needed it as an excuse by that point. Moving to Flagstaff just dragged everything out, especially the inevitable divorces. Flagstaff gave Meri and Christine that false hope of things improving, but without that hope, they likely would have seen Kody's toxic pattern much sooner. But even so, I'm betting it still would have happened. Maybe not as dramatically though. Meri probably wouldn't have left if they stayed in Vegas, and Janelle, she might have stuck around too. But Christine, she was definitely going to leave, no matter what. As for coronavirus, it was going to happen no matter where they were. They might have lasted the first few months without major issues, but eventually they'd all be stuck at home, driving each other crazy, Vegas cul-de-sac or not. Kody is clearly dragging out the property sale, and I can't help but wonder if he's doing it on purpose so that they have to keep nagging him. I mean, once this thing is over, once the property's sold and everything's divided, the communication will stop. No more excuses for him to avoid them. No more pretending they're still obsessed with him. So what does he do? He's just stretching it out, refusing to respond so they'll keep chasing him, and in his mind, that's keeping the illusion alive that they still care. It's like his ego can't handle the idea that they might just move on. Here's the thing, Kody thrives on control, and this is the last shred of power he has over them. Once the sale goes through and they split the money, he'll have nothing left to hold over their heads. I bet he's also convinced that he can list the property, sell it himself, and somehow claim he's entitled to a fairer share of the money. What he clearly doesn't get, though, is that he can't do this alone. He can't pretend he's the sole owner. He can spew all the nonsense he wants to the realtor, that poor guy, but it's all just a power play. He wants them to keep pushing him. The nagging, the constant back and forth, he's loving it. He wants to be the one calling the shots. But, surprise, surprise, he's not the boss here. They're co-owners, and they need to be working together. The only people he should be talking to are them, not trying to single-handedly make decisions like he has some God-given right. Do we really need more Robyn? People are constantly complaining that Kody and Robyn either don't contribute enough or that what they do contribute feels totally fake. But let's be honest, do we really want to see what their lives are actually like? Sure, maybe a couple of episodes could be entertaining, but after that, it's either painfully boring or straight up depressing. In my opinion, productions probably told them to spice things up. Hence the whole Tree-Geddon debacle from a few episodes ago. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't have minded seeing Robyn go through the effort of getting that journal for Meri's going-away gift, or maybe the drive to my Kelty's house after the twins were born. But do we honestly need more of them? I can barely handle what we get now, especially Kody. He's just infuriating. I don't think I'd survive seeing him any more than we already have to. At this point, I'm with you. Both of them should be dropped from the cast. It's honestly ridiculous that Robyn gets paid as much as the cast members who actually contribute. The few seconds she was on screen last episode probably earned her more than the ones giving us real content. The real solution here? Eliminate them both. It's not even that I want to see more of them. It's just that it's insulting to the audience when they're feeding us these fake scenes with absolutely nothing from their real life. It's like being stuck in a group project where someone's slacking off. Right now, Christine and Meri are the ones holding this whole thing up. Christine with her content and Meri with the interesting tidbits she drops during those couch interviews or while hanging out with friends. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.